Next up, we have Carly, who will be reading from her short story, Last Snow in Athens. Carly Craig is a graduate of the New England Young Writers Conference and the University of Edinburgh. Her short stories have been published in Jambalaya magazine, Little Fish, Big Bait, and Hillfire Anthology. Really excited to hear this story read out loud. Last Snow in Athens.
Thank you, Lena. Thanks, everyone. This story is born out of something I love, both about travel and writing. What started as a very innocuous small talk conversation about weather led me down a deep research rabbit hole that somehow became something else entirely. So here's Last Snow in Athens. The night guard has started singing to the statues. In the early hours, his voice is threadbare. It's a paltry offering to a stone-faced audience, but it's what he has. 3 months in, the silence has become unbearable. He walks among the stelae through these tomb-like, windowless halls and feels the stifling weight of time collapsing. Once, living hands threw pottery, forged precious metals, chiseled stone, all so that these objects may have a life in the world, so the people may be fed, and the gods may be worshipped, and the dead may be remembered. The work begs to be witnessed, but the doors are long closed now, and instead of the awestruck public, the work has only Nikos, 36, father of one, owner of a reedy singing voice and a nervous tic in his left hand, renter of an apartment in Neos Cosmos. At the beginning of his secondment, when he was perpetually exhausted and missing Seb and Cleo, Nikos often contemplated the last time the National Archaeological Museum remained closed for so long. It was the winter of 1940, and war was on its way to Athens. To protect their collection from Nazi bombing and looting, the museum staff turned history on its head. They pried up the flagstones and dug deep trenches below the museum floors. They returned their relics to the ground, cast in plaster, coated in wax, boxed in crates, bound in fabric. When they were done, they restored every tile to its rightful place, polished the floors clean, and vowed to keep the museum's secrets no matter the cost. They prayed that the strata of sand and concrete would once again carry their history safely into an uncertain future. Axis troops invaded Athens in April 1941. Have courage and patience, Athens radio urged their fellow citizens in the final hours before the city fell. Prove yourselves worthy of your history. Greece will live again. German soldiers pushed straight to the Acropolis, where they raised the Nazi flag. But when they went to plunder the National Museum, they were thwarted. They found its echoing halls empty, miraculously unoccupied. Nikos must have repeated those facts to guests on his tours thousands of times over the years. The defiant trickery of his forebearers seemed almost mythic. It made him proud to be Greek, proud to work in this monumental place preserved by the tenacity of ordinary employees like him. Now, the present complicates the past, and he finds himself dwelling on different details. How did it feel to watch the enemy marching toward Athens, knowing their only recourse was to hide their beloved charges and hope they would not be found? How did it feel to exist in the untold middle of their story, under indefinite Nazi occupation? Is the narrative he leans on for courage only powerful because he knows how it ends? After all, here's history knocking on his own door, and Nikos has never felt so impotent. It's not just patrolling a closed museum. It's slipping past Cleo, sleeping odd hours in a half-empty bed, pacing around their tiny apartment, pretending not to worry as Seb's eyes go duller with each day spent slumped over a tablet in that same corner, barely tuned in to his online classes. Their boy is wilting. Their sweet, social kid, so silent and still. A primal horror. This slow petrification is killing him. Just a few days ago, the government announced that the rules would tighten again and schools would close only 12 days after reopening. When he heard the news, fear struck Nikos with fresh violence. Cases are up. The death toll is rapidly surpassing other countries in Europe. Nikos would go to war to save his son, but how do you resist an enemy so intangible as a virus? How do you endure its occupation? He's heading back toward the exit now, his shift nearly finished, but he makes a point of pausing in the red-painted room housing the jockey of Artemisian, one of his favorite statues in the collection. This life-sized horse gallops forward in frantic, beautifully rendered motion. Atop his back is a small boy, chitin flying in the wind, hand outstretched to hold reins that corroded away in the 2,000 years this pair spent resting on the Aegean seabed. The work is extraordinary, Nikos always stressed to visitors, not just for its artistry, but for its improbability. Most ancient Greek bronzes like this one have not survived. Over centuries, their material was reclaimed and reforged for new purposes. How strange, then, that a shipwreck saved this horse and his rider, and so they gallop on. He makes a mental note to tell Seb that story later. That and the war stuff, shipwrecks and Nazis and buried treasure will hold the boys' attention for a little while at least. They can pretend their apartment is set in a bubble on the seafloor, their own city of Atlantis, and perhaps when the divers find them and haul them up again someday, the world will be completely changed. And to find out how snow even comes into this story, you're going to have to buy Hillfire Anthology Volume 4. Here's the proof copy. It's so beautiful. Our artist, our art director, Amos O'Connor, did an incredible job with this one, and I'm so excited for you all to see it. Great work, everyone.
Carly, everyone was astonished with your first line. Do you want to tell us again what your first line is?
Sure. The first line is the night guard has started singing to the statues. And thank you everyone for saying that. I have always loved first lines as a reader. I actually have a mug that has like a bunch of my favorite first lines in literature on it. So hearing that people liked it means a lot to me. That's really lovely. Thanks.
Yay! Add it to your mug. We can get you a marker so you can add it at your own first line to the mug. I think that's yeah, warranted. Okay, so more praise. Like, love the historical thread in this story, Miriam says. It's woven in so well. Yeah, 100%. People are agreeing with that. And then Hannah says, like, because he knows how it ends. Yep, because it's kind of easier to deal with things when we know they'll end okay. And unfortunately, we don't. Then here's like, okay, everybody's just crying.
Guys, it's not a tragic story in the end.
If I can comment on that, the reason I was the one who said, I'm not crying, you're crying. And I think it was just because it's a beautiful story, Carly. Everyone should really, I mean, we've all been saying go buy the book, but this story is beautiful in its imagery and the characters. And I think the thing that got me was this relationship that you build between Nikos and his family, and just watching the impacts of COVID and like current events on the people that you love. It's beautiful, and it's also heart-wrenching. So that's where those tears were. I can't speak for other people's tears, but they're beautiful tears. They're bittersweet. So it's a beautiful story. See, y'all should go read. And the snow part's really cool too. So.
Thank you so much, Katie. That's so kind of you. I really appreciate